If you've ever caught your cat scratching their claws down your precious couch, this video is for you. Today we'll delve into the surprising reasons why cats scratch, and I'll give you some proven tips to stop your cat destroying your furniture, while also helping them live their best life. We want your cat to thrive, but your furniture to survive. Welcome to Cats with Matt. If you're new here, I'm Matt, a cat behaviourist. Over the past 25 years, I've helped so many of my clients with their cat's problematic scratching. First things first, scratching is a completely normal, natural behaviour for cats. They're instinctively motivated to find something solid, either vertical or horizontal, reach out or up, dig in their claws and let rip. This behaviour has helped them and their ancestors survive since way back before they were domesticated, likely going back millions of years. Maintaining their tools. Scratching is super important for claw maintenance. Those sharp claws aren't just for show, they're vital tools of the feline trade. In free-living cats, they're critical for hunting, climbing, territorial battles and self-defense. Cat claws are a marvel of engineering really, as they remain extremely sharp at all times. This is partially due to the ability of a cat to retract its claws so they don't get blunted on the ground as they walk or run, as happens with dogs and surprisingly cheetahs. They also remain sharp because of the auto-refreshing design of cats' claws themselves. New, fresh claws are constantly growing under the existing claws, and just at the point where a claw is getting a little dull, it separates from the underlying new claw and comes off as a sheath. You may have found these sheaths lying around your home. These sheaths don't come off easily though, unless they're really old and past their best before date. Regular scratching helps flex the claw, load and unload it, and microcracks develop in the hard structure, and when the time is right, it separates from the underlying fresh, lethally sharp claw. This process normally takes somewhere between 2 to 3 months, but at any one time, one or more of a cat's 10 front claws is nearing the end of its useful life, so regular scratching helps ensure a cat's claws remain as sharp as possible. Do your stretches. Another benefit of scratching is that it provides a full body stretch, engaging muscles and ligaments from the paws and claws, through the forelimbs, shoulders, and all the way down the back. Like with a human athlete, this regular stretching keeps a cat agile and in top physical condition, ready for the next burst of physical action, whether that's a predatory pounce or a dash to safety. Scent signals. Now, here's where things get a little interesting. When cats scratch, they might not just be keeping their claws and bodies in top shape. They could be communicating. Cats have sebaceous glands in their paws, which secrete an oily substance important for skin health. And when a cat scratches, some of this substance is left on the scratched surface. While scientists still aren't yet sure of the role scent plays with cat scratching, it does seem that cats are drawn to smell areas other cats have scratched. And in one study, cats were more likely to scratch surfaces where paw secretions had been deposited by researchers. So, scratching probably serves some function as a form of scent-based territorial marking, possibly communicating, "This is who you're dealing with, proceed at your own risk." The physical marks of the scratching may also contribute to this scent communication. Vigorous scratch marks may indicate a healthy cat who's not to be messed with, or they may act as a visual pointer to the scent information encoded into the scratches. The emotional aspect of scratching. So those are the main functional reasons for why cats scratch, but let's not forget the emotional side of scratching. Because of the important functions I've mentioned, scratching almost certainly feels great for cats. Animals are wired to feel good when they do things that have helped their ancestors survive and have offspring. For instance, hunting feels thrillingly enjoyable for a cat, as it helps them capture food for survival. Drinking feels wonderful when they're thirsty because hydration is critical to life. And scratching feels very satisfying as it achieves the benefits I've already mentioned. So while we're talking about the functional benefits of scratching, cats probably aren't thinking a whole lot about these benefits. They're scratching because it feels good. This brings us on to another angle. Sometimes behaviour which feels pleasurable can be even more likely to be performed if an animal is emotionally charged. So while a perfectly relaxed, happy and fulfilled cat will scratch, normally something like 6 times a day, a cat who is excited but doesn't have an appropriate outlet for this excitement might be more likely to scratch in order to release some of their pent-up energy. Or a cat who is anxious but unable to control their exposure to what worries them may scratch as a form of stress release, a bit like we might pace about when under stress. Or a cat who desires something specific but can't access it, say they're hungry for a meal but the humans are occupied with something else, they might scratch as an outlet for their frustration. These examples of excitement, anxiety, and frustration-induced scratching are what we call displacement behavior. Doing something feels better than doing nothing. Attention-seeking scratching. Cats can also learn that scratching has a payoff and that it tends to get attention from us. Here's an example. A cat scratches their scratching post. You leave them to it, cats being a cat. But if they scratch the new sofa, it's hard not to react. Hey, Fluffy, no. And then you distract them away with attention, play, or food. But after a few repetitions of interventions like this, a cat clocks onto the idea that scratching the sofa has a desirable outcome, and they might slowly but surely begin to target the sofa more so than their scratching posts. This attention-seeking scratching is of course only one potential reason why a cat might scratch your favourite things more than you'd like. After all, items like sofas are ideal outlets for scratching, as they're solid, tall, and a cat can really get their claws into the material. I'm sure cats are very impressed we have such wonderful scratching resources just for them. Okay, so we know why cats scratch, but how do we stop them destroying your sofa, wallpaper, or door frames? The key here is to understand that cats are deeply, instinctively motivated to scratch. And if we just try to stop the unwanted scratching when it occurs, we're probably not going to make much progress. This is because by reactively trying to suppress scratching, we're not actually addressing a cat's deep-set desire to scratch. It's important to understand it's a behavioural need for our cats, not a naughty habit. As I've mentioned, some cats can learn that scratching has the added bonus of getting attention from us humans. But if a cat finds our telling off stressful, for instance if we shout loudly or spray them with water or something else really unpleasant, they'll learn to either scratch when the coast is clear and we're not in the room. This is like humans being more likely to speed when there are no police about. Or they'll feel trapped between a motivational rock and a hard place by needing to scratch, even when we're there, but at the same time being worried about the repercussions of doing it. This is not only anxiety inducing, but it's also very frustrating. There's nothing worse than really needing to do something, but being thwarted from doing it. Which leads us on to another downside of telling a cat off for scratching, the impact on your relationship with your cat. If your reaction to their scratching is stressful and frustrating for your cat, these moments of conflict can cast a negative shadow on your relationship, and none of us cat lovers want this. Please don't beat yourself up if you've told your cat off for scratching. Hey, we're all human, and reacting to unwanted behaviour is a very normal response. But I hope I've convinced you that it's not a great way to tackle this issue. Instead, let's focus on providing acceptable scratching areas for our cats that they actually want to use. So here's a quick rundown of the type of scratching post your cat would choose if they could. First up, height matters. Make sure the post is tall enough for your cat to really stretch up. We're talking 80 centimeters or 32 inches high for most cats. Stability is also key. Cats prefer something solid they can scratch on so they can really put their back into it, stretching their bodies and removing old claws. You need to choose posts that won't wobble or topple over. A sturdy base is a must. Wall-mounted scratchers are a fantastic option. They're super solid and can double as a climbing wall for your feline friend. Cats love vertical space. Also, remember to provide horizontal scratching options for your cat. Some cats even favour these over a vertical scratcher. Now, let's talk texture. Cats love to dig their claws into something satisfying. Individual cats have their own preferences, so try to figure out the types of material your cat likes to scratch. But generally, cats like something they can get their claws into and shred over time. For us cat guardians, it's a balance between durability and shreddability. You don't want something that is destroyed in a month that you need to replace, But you also don't want something so durable it doesn't get a little ragged over time. Sisal fabric, loop weave carpet, and corrugated cardboard are great options for many cats. Location is also important, especially if your cat is scratching the furniture. If at all possible, place the scratching post right next to the areas your cat has been targeting. This will help transfer their scratching location preference from, say, the sofa to the post. And over time, you may be able to move the post to a more convenient location. Although an uncomfortable truth here is that some things in your home, especially things like sofas and padded chairs, might just be irresistible for your cat. The combination of height, solidity, and shreddable material can mean they remain attractive to your cat, even when you've provided them with alternative, gold standard scratching outlets. So it's often necessary to reduce the attractiveness of inappropriate areas once you've provided desirable alternatives. For example, tightly tucking a sheet around the targeted area of a sofa can make the spot less attractive to scratch. Or, if this isn't enough, you can buy non-toxic, fabric-friendly tape or plastic sheets to attach to your furniture, which is tacky and no fun for your cat to scratch at. Whatever you use to lower the attractiveness of your furniture, make sure it's enough to make the spot less attractive to scratch, but without causing your cat stress. At this point, I also want to briefly cover declawing, a surgery that some people resort to stop destructive scratching. The term declawing is actually misleading. It isn't simply removing the claws of a cat, it's an amputation of the last bone in each toe. It's like asking a surgeon to remove the ends of your kid's fingers to stop them biting their nails. It's a painful procedure that can lead to complications like infection, nerve damage, and chronic pain. It can affect a cat's ability to walk, jump, and defend themselves, and has the potential to significantly alter a cat's behaviour and quality of life. Please don't declaw your cat. Alright, let's recap the key takeaways from this video. Scratching is a natural, instinctual, behavioural necessity for cats, rather than a naughty habit. It's how cats maintain their claws, stretch, and communicate. Rather than telling your cat off for scratching, focus on providing them with appealing alternatives. Tall, sturdy scratching posts with the right texture. And if your cat is still tempted by your furniture, make it less attractive by changing the surface to something less satisfying to scratch. With a little understanding and effort, you can create a harmonious environment where your cat thrives and your furniture survives. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more feline focused content. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.